Have you ever walked into a store with a single item on your list, only to leave with bags full of things you never planned to buy? You are not alone. What if there is an unseen force guiding our hands toward the checkout counter? It is about understanding that invisible hand that so often reaches for our wallets. It's about the small, everyday choices that add up over time. Yet together, these drops create a powerful tide. They shape our habits, influence our well-being, and ultimately define our relationship with money. Every purchase you make is a word, a sentence, and a long, ongoing story about who you are and what you value. But are you the one truly writing this story? Or are you simply repeating phrases you've heard from advertisements? Why did I buy that? What feeling was I chasing in that moment? The goal is awareness, and with awareness comes the power to choose differently. We live in a world obsessed with the how of money, how to make more, invest wisely, and budget effectively. We are surrounded by financial plans and apps, but they often miss a fundamental piece. Why do we spend the way we do? This why is the missing link. Asking why is an act of deep introspection. It takes us into the realm of our inner world. These are not questions about finance, they are questions about human nature. This is where our journey truly begins. We are setting the stage to discover the deeper reasons behind our purchases. By daring to ask why, we open the door to a new kind of freedom. Our relationship with money reflects our fears, dreams, and aspirations. Managing money without understanding your own psychology is like navigating the ocean, unprepared for the deep water currents. The deep water currents are your emotions, past experiences, and unconscious beliefs. This journey inward is about creating a more complete map. See spending habits not as flaws but as clues to respond to our needs in more fulfilling ways. Let's embark on an emotional and spiritual accounting to explore the hidden territories of the heart and mind. It's about expanding our awareness to see the full picture and find a more peaceful way of being with our money and ourselves. The path we are about to walk is not one of deprivation or guilt. The true aim of this journey is the cultivation of awareness. Awareness illuminates the dark corners of our habits. Think of it like learning to meditate. The initial goal isn't to stop the thoughts but simply to observe them without judgment. In the same way, we will learn to observe our urges to spend. This simple act of pausing and observing is revolutionary. In that space lies our freedom. This is the promise of moving from a life of automatic reactions to a life of conscious choices. It is a practice, a new way of being. It is about building a relationship with money based on clarity, purpose, and profound inner peace. Stress is a powerful and universal human experience. It's that feeling of being overwhelmed. In our modern world, the sources of this stress seem endless. For so many of us, that escape route leads straight to a store or an online shopping cart. This behavior is often called retail therapy. When we're stressed, our brain releases a hormone called cortisol. The hunt for a new item can provide a dopamine hit. But the problem is, this relief is incredibly fleeting. The original stress is still there, sometimes with a new layer of guilt. It's a strategy that just can't work long-term. This creates a dangerous cycle. Understanding this connection between stress and spending is the first step toward breaking the cycle. What am I really feeling right now, and what do I truly need? Maybe what we really need is a walk outside or a chat with a good friend. We can learn to soothe our stress in ways that are truly nourishing and sustainable. Happiness is a feeling we all chase. In our consumer-driven culture, we're sent a powerful message: happiness can be bought. Advertisements paint vivid pictures of joy, connecting it directly to products. When we buy something we've been wanting, there's a rush of pleasure, a happiness high fueled by dopamine. But this happiness is temporary. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. We quickly return to a stable level of happiness. This chase can trap us on a hedonic treadmill. True joy rarely comes from objects. It grows from relationships, purpose, gratitude, and personal growth. It's a deeper, more resilient well-being that money can't buy. Deep within so many of us lives a quiet, persistent fear, the fear of not being enough. In a world that constantly equates material possessions with success and value, spending becomes an easy tool for managing these feelings. This is the psychology behind status spending. We buy the designer handbag, the luxury car, or the branded clothing not just for their function, but for what we believe they say about us. We hope that by surrounding ourselves with these external markers of value, we can borrow some of their shine. The purchase is less about the object and more about the identity we hope it will help us project. But this strategy is a really fragile one, because it tethers our self-worth to external, ever-changing factors. True self-worth is an inside job. Boredom is an uncomfortable feeling, an emptiness we are desperate to fill. In our hyper-connected world, we've become unaccustomed to stillness. Our first instinct is often to reach for a distraction, and one of the easiest is shopping. With a few taps, we're transported into a vibrant world of endless products. Browsing online stores combats boredom, giving our minds a low-effort task. The goal isn't always to buy, but to engage in looking. The purchase is often an afterthought, filling an empty space in our day. It's about a lack of engagement with our lives. Once the novelty wears off, the item is forgotten, and the emptiness remains. The cure is not more things, but meaningful ways to engage with our time. Boredom can be an invitation to learn, create, or connect with others. Instead of reaching for your phone, read a book. Transform empty moments into opportunities for genuine growth. Our relationship with money begins long before our first paycheck in our childhood. The way our parents talked about money created the first blueprint in our minds. These early experiences become the invisible scripts that we often act out in our adult lives. Our spending habits today are often echoes of these lessons learned long ago. Consider someone who grew up in a household where money was always tight. As an adult, they might become extremely frugal or spend lavishly as a way to rebel against that past deprivation. Becoming aware of these historical echoes is a crucial step in understanding our own spending triggers. By untangling these threads from our past, we can begin to see how they influence our present. This awareness gives us the power to write a new, more conscious and empowering financial story for ourselves. We are fundamentally social creatures. Our need to belong is wired deep into our DNA. This is the pressure of keeping up with the Joneses. It's about social benchmarking. We look to those around us to understand what is normal and what is considered successful. It subtly shifts our own perception of what we should have. Our own life can suddenly feel inadequate in comparison, creating pressure to match their level of consumption. Breaking free from this cycle requires a shift in focus from external validation to internal alignment. It means defining our own version of a successful and meaningful life, independent of what our neighbors are doing, freeing ourselves from the exhausting race of comparison. We live in a world that is saturated with messages designed to make us want things. From the billboards we pass on our commute to the sponsored posts that fill our social media feeds, we're exposed to thousands of advertisements every single day. These aren't simply announcements about products, they're masterclasses in psychological persuasion. The advertising industry has spent billions of dollars and decades of research understanding what makes us tick. Their goal isn't to meet our existing needs, but to create new ones. They're experts in the art of manufacturing desire, making us feel a sense of lack for things we didn't even know existed a moment before. Advertisements work by tapping into our deepest human emotions and insecurities. They rarely sell a product based on its features alone. Instead, they sell a promise. They sell happiness, confidence, connection, freedom, and belonging. A soft drink isn't just selling sugar water, it's selling friendship and joyful moments. A perfume isn't selling a fragrance, it's selling romance and allure. An athletic shoe isn't selling rubber and fabric, it's selling determination and the power to overcome obstacles. By associating their products with these powerful universal aspirations, advertisers create a strong emotional link in our minds, making us believe that buying the product is a shortcut to achieving the feeling we crave. This process is often so subtle that we don't even notice it's happening. The carefully chosen music, the attractive actors, the perfectly crafted story, it all works together to bypass our rational mind and speak directly to our subconscious. Advertisers create a problem that we didn't know we had, and then conveniently offer their product as the perfect solution. They make us feel that our lives are incomplete, that we're missing out, or that we're not quite good enough as we are. Then, the purchase is presented as the key to becoming a better, happier, and more complete version of ourselves. It is a powerful and incredibly effective formula. To resist this constant barrage of manufactured desire, we have to become more conscious consumers of media. This means learning to see advertisements for what they are, carefully constructed messages with a single objective, to make us spend money. We can start to deconstruct the ads we see, asking ourselves, what emotion is this ad trying to make me feel? What promise is it making? What insecurity is it targeting? By developing this critical awareness, we can begin to separate our genuine needs and desires from the ones that have been skillfully planted in our minds. This creates a protective buffer, allowing us to admire the artistry of an ad without falling for its spell. In our hyper-connected world, we're constantly aware of what others are doing. This has given rise to the fear of missing out, or FOMO. It's a pervasive feeling that others are having more rewarding experiences. We feel a pull to participate, not necessarily because we're genuinely interested, but because we're afraid of being left behind. It pushes us to buy things we don't need simply to be part of the cultural conversation. The trend trap is fueled by marketing that emphasizes scarcity and limited-time offers, triggering our FOMO. To escape the trend trap, we have to cultivate a stronger sense of self. Find the joy of missing out, or JOMO. Pause before a purchase and ask, am I buying this because I truly love it, or am I buying it because I'm afraid of being left out? We can watch trends come and go with a sense of peaceful detachment. Our culture has developed a powerful and often unspoken rule. Every significant life event, and honestly even many insignificant ones, must be marked by spending money. From birthdays and holidays to graduations and promotions, there's a societal expectation that we have to commemorate the occasion with gifts, elaborate meals, or new outfits. A birthday isn't complete without a pile of presents. Valentine's Day demands flowers and expensive dinners. Even smaller achievements, like finishing a tough project at work, can feel like they warrant a treat-yourself shopping trip. This creates a constant mandate to consume, weaving spending into the very fabric of our joyous moments. This connection between celebration and consumption is so deeply ingrained that we often don't even question it. It feels normal, even necessary. The problem is that it can shift the focus away from the true meaning of the event. Instead of savoring the accomplishment of a graduation, we stress about finding the perfect gift. Instead of enjoying the simple presence of loved ones on a birthday, we worry about whether the party is impressive enough. The pressure to spend can overshadow the genuine emotion of the moment, replacing heartfelt connection with material transactions. The celebration becomes less about the people and the milestone, and more about the performance of celebration itself. This mandate also creates a system of obligatory spending that can lead to financial strain and resentment. We feel obligated to buy a gift for a coworker's baby shower or to attend a destination wedding we can't really afford. Saying no feels rude or unsupportive, so we end up spending money out of a sense of social duty rather than genuine desire. This erodes the joy of giving, turning it into a chore. We buy things not from a place of heartfelt generosity, but from a place of social pressure, and the gift itself becomes a symbol of that obligation rather than a token of sincere affection or congratulations. Reclaiming our celebrations requires a conscious effort to redefine how we mark important moments. It means separating the act of honoring an occasion from the act of spending money. We can choose to celebrate a friend's promotion with a thoughtful, handwritten letter expressing our admiration instead of an expensive bottle of wine. We can celebrate a child's birthday by creating an experience, a special hike, a day spent building a fort in the living room, a homemade treasure hunt, instead of overwhelming them with toys. By focusing on creating meaningful memories and expressing genuine emotion, we can find richer, more fulfilling ways to celebrate that strengthen our bonds and our bank accounts at the same time. Social media has opened a window into the lives of billions, but the view is highly filtered and often misleading. We are now comparing ourselves to influencers from all over the world. Our feeds are filled with images of perfect homes and exotic vacations. We are scrolling through a highlight reel, which can make our own reality seem dull in comparison. This constant exposure drives modern consumption and creates a distorted perception of reality. The line between inspiration and advertising has become blurred, leading to impulse spending. To protect our peace of mind, we must engage with social media with intention and a healthy dose of skepticism. True contentment is found in fully inhabiting and appreciating our own life. Ancient philosophers like the Stoics explored desire, happiness, and the good life. They taught that a tranquil life comes from wanting only what we truly need. External things are beyond our control and a fragile foundation for happiness. The Stoic approach distinguishes between genuine needs and fleeting wants. Needs are essential for survival: food, water, shelter, clothing. Wants are non-essential desires, often fueled by social comparison or pleasure. Much suffering comes from treating wants as needs. Stoics practice negative visualization, imagining the loss of what we value. This helps us appreciate what we have and reset our desires. It loosens the grip of our wants. Ask, is this essential? Separate true needs from manufactured wants for a new sense of freedom. Buddhist philosophy teaches that craving, tanha, is the root of suffering, and our impulse to spend is a clear example. Instead of chasing satisfaction through purchases, mindfulness invites us to observe our desires without acting on them. By noticing cravings as they arise and letting them pass, we realize we are not our desires, we are the awareness behind them. This mindful space between impulse and action is where true freedom lies. The Buddhist path offers not the freedom to have everything, but the deeper freedom from needing it. Modern science reveals that much of our spending is driven by automatic habit loops: cue, routine, reward. These loops operate beneath our awareness, making willpower alone ineffective. By identifying our cues and rewards, we can swap unhealthy routines for better ones. Our habits aren't moral failings, they're brain wiring we can reprogram. Understanding this gives us the power to shift from mindless spending to intentional choices. The key to breaking automatic spending is creating a pause between impulse and action. Simple strategies, like a 24-hour rule before purchases, let emotions settle and rational thinking return. This pause weakens old habits and builds self-control, turning reflection into your new default. Over time, you become the director of your actions, not a victim of impulse. Mastering the pause is the foundation for a purposeful, regret-free financial life. In a world obsessed with more, contentment is a radical act. True happiness comes from appreciating what you already have, not chasing endless novelty. Practices like gratitude journaling shift your focus from lack to abundance, reducing material cravings. When you feel full within, spending becomes intentional and joyful, not a way to fill a void. Choosing contentment is a superpower that shields you from relentless external pressures. Our environment shapes our choices, so design it to support your goals. Add friction to bad habits, remove saved cards, unsubscribe from tempting emails, unfollow triggers, make good habits easy, automate savings, prep meals, and curate your digital world. This isn't about deprivation, but about aligning your surroundings with your values. Thoughtful design makes living intentionally almost effortless. The first step to change is mindful observation. Watch your spending without judgment. Track every purchase and the feelings behind it for a week. Patterns will emerge. This isn't about shame, but about understanding your triggers with curiosity. Awareness breaks the autopilot cycle and empowers conscious choices. Simply watching your habits is the beginning of true transformation. Once you have practiced awareness and started to identify your specific triggers, the next step is to actively create space between the impulse and the action. This is the sacred pause we have spoken of, and it is your single most powerful tool for reclaiming your agency. An impulse is, by its nature, urgent and fleeting. It screams for immediate satisfaction. The pause is your way of telling that impulse, "I hear you, but I am the one in charge here." It is a simple, deliberate act that allows your rational brain to come online and participate in a decision that your emotional brain is trying to make on its own. A practical way to build this muscle is to implement a personal waiting period for all non-essential purchases. You can customize this rule to fit your life. For example, you might create a 24-hour rule for any online purchase. When you feel the urge to buy something, you add it to your cart or a wish list, but you do not check out. You commit to waiting a full 24 hours. For larger purchases, you might extend this to a 7-day rule. This delay is not a no, it is simply a not right now. It is a cooling off period that allows the intense, chemically fueled desire of the moment to subside. During this pause, you are giving yourself a precious gift, the gift of perspective. You can now approach the potential purchase with a clearer mind. Ask yourself some key questions. Why do I really want this? What purpose will it serve in my life a month from now? A year from now? Is there something I already own that serves the same function? What else could I do with this money that would align more closely with my long-term goals, like funding a travel dream, paying down debt, or investing in my future? The pause transforms a reactive impulse into a proactive, values-based decision. You will be amazed at how often the desire simply evaporates during this waiting period. The item that seemed absolutely essential in the heat of the moment now appears trivial or unnecessary. The pause reveals the true nature of so many of our wants. They are temporary, shallow, and not worth sacrificing our peace or our long-term goals for. Each time you successfully implement the pause and decide not to buy, you are strengthening your willpower muscle. You are proving to yourself that you are not at the mercy of your whims. You are the one who chooses. For too long, many of us have been playing a game we can't win, using a scorecard that was given to us by society and advertisers. This scorecard defines richness almost exclusively in material terms. The size of our house, the brand of our car, the labels on our clothes. To break the cycle of spending, we must tear up this old scorecard and create a new one for ourselves. We need to consciously and deliberately redefine what a rich life means to us, based on our own unique values, passions, and purpose. This is about shifting your focus from what you have to who you are. Take some time for deep reflection. Get out a journal and ask yourself some big questions. When do I feel most alive and fulfilled? What activities bring me a sense of genuine, lasting joy, not just a fleeting thrill? What values are most important to me? Creativity, connection, learning, adventure, peace. Your answers to these questions are the building blocks of your new personal scorecard. Your definition of richness might be having the time and freedom to read books every afternoon. It might be the strength and health to hike in the mountains. It might be the quality of your relationships with friends and family. Once you have this new definition of richness, write it down, make it visible. This becomes your new North Star, the guiding principle for your decisions, including your financial ones. Before you make a purchase, you can now compare it against your personal scorecard. Ask yourself, will spending this money make me richer, according to my own definition? Will this new gadget give me more quality time with my loved ones? Will this expensive outfit help me feel more adventurous or creative? Sometimes the answer may be yes, but very often you will find that the purchase has no bearing on what you have defined as truly valuable. This redefinition is incredibly liberating. It frees you from the endless and exhausting game of comparison. When you are clear on your own definition of success, what other people are buying becomes irrelevant. You are no longer trying to keep up with the Joneses because you are running a completely different race, your own. You begin to see that true wealth is not about having more things, but about having more of what truly matters to you. Your money then becomes a powerful tool that you can use intentionally to build that genuinely rich life, one aligned choice at a time. As we learned from behavioral science, our spending habits are often automated loops. A cue triggers a routine that delivers a reward. Simply trying to stop the routine through sheer force of will is incredibly difficult because our brain is still craving the reward. A far more effective and sustainable strategy is the habit swap. This involves keeping the cue and the reward, but consciously choosing a new, more positive routine to insert in the middle. You are giving your brain the reward it wants, but in a way that serves you better. This is not about deprivation, it is about skillful substitution. First, you must use your mindful awareness to deconstruct your problematic habit. Let's say you've identified that after a stressful day at work, the cue you spend an hour browsing online stores, the routine to feel a sense of escape and distraction, the reward. The goal is not to eliminate the need for escape after a stressful day. That need is perfectly valid. The goal is to find a better way to get that reward. What else could you do that would provide a sense of mental escape and calm? Could you go for a walk in a nearby park? Could you listen to a chapter of an audiobook? Could you do a 10-minute guided meditation? Once you have a list of potential new routines, you can experiment. The next time you come home feeling that familiar stress, intentionally choose one of your new routines instead of opening your laptop to shop. At first, it might feel forced, but stick with it. After you've completed the new routine, check in with yourself. Do you feel that sense of relief you were looking for? You might find that a walk in nature not only provides the mental escape you were craving, but actually leaves you feeling more refreshed and energized than shopping ever did, without the side effect of guilt or a lighter wallet. This process requires intention and repetition. You are literally forging new neural pathways in your brain. Each time you successfully complete the habit swap, you are strengthening the new pathway and weakening the old one. Over time, the new routine will become the more automatic choice. When you feel stressed, your brain will start to anticipate the pleasure of a walk or the calm of meditation instead of the thrill of a purchase. By working with your brain's wiring instead of against it, you can systematically replace destructive spending cycles with life-affirming rituals that truly nourish your well-being. Section 5. Curate your world. Designing for discipline. Even with the best intentions, our willpower is a finite resource. It can be depleted by stress, fatigue, and a constant barrage of temptations. A wise person does not rely on willpower alone. They build a fortress to protect it. This means becoming a conscious architect of your environment, curating your physical and digital worlds to make it easy to do the right thing and hard to do the wrong thing. You are essentially removing the triggers for your bad habits from your line of sight, making discipline feel less like a battle and more like the path of least resistance. Start with your digital environment, which is where many of our modern spending impulses are born. Go on an unsubscribing spree, open your email inbox and ruthlessly unsubscribe from every single marketing email from retailers. These emails are designed with one purpose, to create a sense of urgency and desire. By removing them, you are silencing a constant chorus of temptation. Next, go through your social media. Unfollow influencers or brands that consistently make you feel envious or inadequate. Curate your feed so that it is a source of genuine inspiration and connection, not a catalog of things you don't have. Now turn to your physical environment. If you have a habit of making impulse buys at the grocery store, go in with a strict list and commit to not deviating from it. Eat before you go, as hunger can lead to poor decisions. If credit cards are a weakness, consider removing them from your wallet for everyday use. Carry only the cash you need for the day, or use a debit card. The small amount of friction created by not having immediate access to credit can be enough to stop an unplanned purchase in its tracks. You are creating a physical buffer between impulse and action. This process of curating your world is an ongoing act of self-care. It is about recognizing your vulnerabilities and loving yourself enough to create a supportive environment. It is not about living in a sterile box, but about thoughtfully choosing what you allow into your life and into your awareness. By reducing the number of decisions you have to make and temptations you have to resist each day, you are conserving your precious mental energy for the things that truly matter. You are setting up your future self for success, making financial peace the easy default option. Breaking the cycle of unconscious spending can feel like a monumental task. The habits may be deeply ingrained, and honestly, the idea of a complete overhaul can be so overwhelming that we don't even know where to begin. This is where we must embrace the power of small, incremental changes. You do not need a radical overnight transformation. You just need to focus on getting 1% better each day. It is the accumulation of these tiny, almost imperceptible shifts that leads to profound and lasting change over time. The journey to financial freedom is not a sprint. It is a marathon, built of small, consistent steps. Choose one single area to focus on first. Don't try to fix everything at once. Maybe your one thing is to stop buying coffee out. For 1 week, your only goal is to make your coffee at home. That's it. Don't worry about online shopping or your grocery bill, just focus on that one small, achievable goal. When you succeed for a week, you build a sense of momentum and self-efficacy. You prove to yourself that you change. The following week, you can continue that habit and add another small challenge like packing your lunch one more day than you usually do. This 1% approach helps to bypass the brain's resistance to change. Big, drastic changes can trigger fear and feel like a threat, causing us to retreat to our old, comfortable habits. Small changes, however, fly under the radar. They don't require a huge amount of willpower and are easy to integrate into our existing routines. It's the same principle that explains the power of compound interest. A small, consistent investment in your habits will grow exponentially over time, yielding a result that is far greater than the sum of its parts. Remember to celebrate these small victories along the way. When you successfully make it through a week without an impulse buy, acknowledge it. Feel the pride and satisfaction of that accomplishment. This positive reinforcement strengthens the new behavior and motivates you to continue. Breaking the cycle is not about a single heroic act of will, it is about the quiet, daily practice of making a slightly better choice than you did the day before. It is in these small, consistent, and compassionate steps that you will find the path to a new relationship with money, one built on awareness, intention, and lasting peace. We began this journey together asking, why do we spend money on things we don't truly need? We explored the emotional triggers within us, like stress and the fleeting happiness of a new purchase. We saw how boredom and our past dictate our choices, and how external forces fuel our desire to keep up with others. We recognized how curated lifestyles distort our reality. We sought wisdom to guide us, learning to distinguish needs from wants. Understanding our brain's habit loop, we found power in the space between impulse and action. The journey begins with mindful awareness. We redefine richness according to our deepest values, swap bad habits, and curate our environments for success. Small, consistent steps lead to lasting transformation. If there is one single thread that has woven its way through every part of our exploration, it is the transformative power of awareness. The entire purpose has been to offer you a gift, the gift of awareness. Awareness is the light that you can now shine into the previously dark corners of your habits. Now, you have the ability to see the wave forming. By simply seeing these forces for what they are, You are no longer helplessly tossed about. This awareness changes everything. It transforms you from a passive reactor into a conscious creator of your life. This is not about restriction. It is about a profound expansion of your freedom. This gift of awareness is now yours to carry forward. It is a muscle that will grow stronger with practice. The goal is not perfection but progress. Our exploration was never truly about money. It was about your relationship with money. For many of us, that relationship has been a source of stress, anxiety, guilt, and confusion. Money has felt like a demanding master, a source of constant pressure, or a measure of our worth. The ultimate goal of this journey is to help you transform that relationship into one of partnership, clarity, and peace. It is about shifting money from its position as the driver of your decisions to its rightful place as a passenger, a tool that you can use to help you get where you truly want to go. Imagine your money as a form of energy. In the past, you may have been unconsciously directing that energy toward filling emotional voids, projecting a certain image, or chasing fleeting pleasures. This is like using a powerful river to turn a small, squeaky wheel. It is a waste of its potential. Now, with the clarity you have gained, you can consciously direct that energy toward what truly matters. You can channel it toward building a life that aligns with your personal scorecard of richness. Your money can become a tool for creating more freedom, more learning, more connection, more adventure, more peace. Whatever it is that you have defined as truly valuable. This new relationship is built on trust in yourself. It is the trust that you can meet your emotional needs in ways that are more nourishing than shopping. It is the trust that your self-worth is inherent and does not need to be purchased. It is the trust that you are wise enough to know the difference between a need and a want. When you trust yourself, you no longer look to money or possessions to save you or to complete you. You see it for what it is, a resource to be managed wisely, a tool to be used intentionally, and a support for the joyful, meaningful life you are already capable of building. As you move forward, treat this new relationship with care. Check in with it regularly. Just as you would in any important relationship, communicate with it. Look at your bank statements not with fear, but with curiosity. Ask, where did my energy go this month? Is this in alignment with who I want to be? This is no longer an exercise in judgment, but a practice of mindful partnership. By cultivating this healthy, conscious, and peaceful relationship with money, you are giving yourself one of the greatest gifts possible. A life where your financial reality is a beautiful and authentic reflection of your inner values. Our time together is coming to a close, but your journey is just beginning. This is not an end, but a powerful new start. Think of this moment not as a graduation, but as an awakening. You have been given a new set of eyes with which to see the world and a new framework with which to understand yourself. The path forward is not about following a rigid plan, but about embracing a new way of being in the world. It is an invitation to begin, again and again, with every choice you make. Every morning you wake up, every time you walk into a store, every time you feel an emotion, it is a new opportunity to practice. Do not be discouraged by the scale of the challenge. The forces of consumer culture are powerful, and your old habits may be deeply rooted. Remember the power of 1%. You do not need to change everything overnight. Simply ask yourself today, what is one small conscious choice I can make that aligns with the person I want to become? Maybe it's unsubscribing from one marketing email. Maybe it's pausing for 30 seconds before an online purchase. Maybe it's writing down 3 things you are grateful for instead of scrolling through a shopping app. Each small act is a vote for your new self. This is a journey of compassion, not perfection. There will be times you stumble. You will buy something you later regret. You will fall back into an old comforting habit. When this happens, do not meet yourself with harshness or judgment. That is the old way. The new way is to meet yourself with gentle curiosity. Ask, that's interesting. What was happening for me in that moment? Every mistake is not a failure, it is simply more data. It is another opportunity to learn, to understand yourself more deeply, and to begin again with greater wisdom. This is a practice of kindness, so I invite you to step forward from this place with courage, curiosity, and a deep sense of purpose. You hold within you the wisdom of the ancients and the insights of modern science. You hold the power of awareness. You hold the freedom to choose. Your life is a precious gift, and you have the ability to build one that is not defined by pressure but by purpose. A life that is not measured in possessions, but in peace. A life that is not driven by what you lack, but is overflowing with gratitude for what you have. This is not about guilt. It is about awakening. And your awakening has already begun.